Hello everyone, welcome to the Coach channel. In this video, I am going to analyze the match that opposed Newcastle to Barcelona in the Champions League and which ended with the victory of Barcelona 2-1. From the beginning of the match, as usual, the Magpies tried to put intense pressure on the Barcelona defense with tight individual marking and strong aggressiveness on the ball carrier, which allowed them to recover the ball very high on the field. On their side, Barcelona tried to build from the back while facing the opposing pressing, but it was extremely difficult for them, especially at the start of the game. And when the Newcastle players recovered the ball higher on the field, they immediately went on the counter by launching the ball to the right wing, Elanga. Very fast and strong in one-on-one situations, he got the better of Martin and crossed to the penalty spot for Gordon, who completely missed the ball. It was a very big chance for Newcastle. To counter this pressure, it is important for Barcelona to beat this pressing by building from the back in order to impose their game and take control of the match. And it is only in the 11th minute that Barcelona succeeded in countering the opposing pressing. Everything starts when the ball reaches Koundé on the right wing. He is immediately under opposing pressure, as are his teammates. To counter the pressing, the Barcelona players used a tactic they have known for a long time, the third man tactic. This tactic was implemented by the legend Johan Cruyff when he was the coach of Barcelona. Since then, it has been part of the club's football DNA and has been a pillar of Barcelona's success in recent years, especially during the Guardiola years. It is also widely used by the Spanish coach Luis Enrique with Paris Saint-Germain. In this action, the third man is De Jong and he is closely marked by Joelinton. The tactic consists of launching the third man in depth. De Jong moves down to ask for the ball, but the pass is not meant for him. It is played to Pedri, the first man, and Pedri has only one objective: to make a direct first touch pass to the second man. If you look closely, the third man De Jong immediately started his run as soon as the pass went to Pedri. Joelinton, tactically poor, frees the key player of the action and watches the ball. Then the second man, Lewandowski, moves down in a pivot to serve the third man De Jong, who is launched completely alone into the race, facing the game. In only 3 passes, 7 Newcastle players were left behind. Another method used by Barcelona to counter the English pressing is to play a long ball to their winger Rashford, their new recruit, who is excellent as a pivot player, especially for a winger. And this is how, little by little, Barcelona took control of the match, calmed the opposing pressing, and started imposing their game. In this defensive situation, the Magpies adopt a 4-5-1, while Barcelona has a hybrid system, especially with De Jong and Pedri organizing the play in front of the defense. Then the backs, midfielders, and forwards rotate and move between the two opposing lines, with Koundé moving between the lines and Rashford dropping to offer passing options. The objective: find a player between the lines behind the opposition midfield. With Pedri at the controls, it's easy to find Fermin behind the midfield. But facing this compact block, Barcelona, at the start of the match, relied on crosses into the box to try to find their striker Lewandowski. By depriving the opponent of the ball and applying pressure, they start finding much more space between the lines. With rotations again between winger and back, with Rafinha moving into the center, Koundé pushing up the wing, and Fermin dropping into the free space to receive the ball behind the first opposition block. Thanks to a counter, Lewandowski finds himself in a shooting position, but his shot is blocked, and immediately, when the ball is lost, Barcelona performs a counter-press on the ball carrier and recovers it quickly. Another action where De Jong and Pedri are organizing in front of the opposition defensive block. Once again, Pedri, as the orchestrator, finds Fermin between the lines with an axial pass. Then the ball reaches Rashford in the penalty area on the left side, who immediately takes on his defender Trippier, but the shot is again blocked. As time goes on, Newcastle retreats in defense and only has one solution: rely on fast counters. And it is on this action that Pedri goes to find Rashford on the left wing. The English international loses his duel against his direct opponent, and immediately, the Magpies launch a counter-attack with Guimaraes found behind Pedri, who manages to delay a few seconds until Elanga arrives at his height to send him in depth. The Barcelona defense is completely behind. Elanga crosses to the far post for Barnes, who perfectly meets the cross with a shot, but goalkeeper Garcia saves for Barcelona. When Newcastle has the ball, they are under the Blaugrana's pressing. They try to draw the opposing pressing with Trippier, who attracts left-back Martin. then passes to Joe Linton in the center, who immediately plays long into the free space behind Martin to put striker Gordon in a one-on-one against the Barcelona defender. Thanks to this type of action, they get some corners, one of the strengths of English football, which Newcastle's coach relied on. With 6 players in the box and tight crosses in front of the goal, the Magpies tried to open the score from a set piece, but Barcelona defended very well. In the second half, Newcastle continued attacking the right side, launching Ilanga behind the Barcelona defense, but the Blaugranas are now alert and covering well. When the Magpies try to press the ball carrier, the Blaugranas do not hesitate to pass to the master of space and time to keep control of the ball. And naturally, with Pedri allowing Barcelona to control the game, Newcastle finds themselves once again in a defensive position. Once again, Pedri finds Fermin in free space with an axial pass. The Spanish player does a 1-2 with Lewandowski and is launched into the penalty area, but the ball is slightly long. Again, as time passes, Newcastle's defensive block retreats. Look how pinned they are in their own box and how high the Pedri De Jong line is on the field. It is on this action that Barcelona scores the first goal, with De Jong serving Koundé on the right wing, who makes a perfect cross to the penalty spot for Rashford. The Englishman meets the cross with a powerful header and sends the ball into the net. 1-0 for Barcelona. A few minutes later, the Magpies try to animate the game with long balls and higher intensity to escape Barcelona's grip. But Rashford, on fire, recovers the ball 30 meters from goal, beats his opponent, and shoots a powerful right foot strike. Goalkeeper Pope cannot stop it. Rashford explodes the net. 2-0. Rashford's return to form is a pleasure to watch, very involved and showing great determination. As in this action where he loses the ball from a bad pass, he immediately presses his opponent to regain possession. As I said earlier, Rashford is often used as a pivot because of his physical strength and excellent control. In another action, he gets the better of his opponent, turns and accelerates past him. Or in a second action where he is found by a teammate under pressing, he checks the opposite side before receiving the ball, then plays a long ball switch to find Rafinha on the right wing completely alone, countering the opposing pressing and creating a one-on-one for Rafinha. At the very end, the Magpies try to react in the last 7 minutes, pressing very high to return to the game. But Barcelona with Pedri controls the ball under Newcastle's pressing. Pedri changes the disadvantageous situation he is in, that is, playing with his back to the game by slightly dropping back into an advantageous situation where he is facing the game and playing forward. To do this, he drags his direct opponent, who is less than a meter away from him, right to the touchline. Then he performs a 1-2 with a teammate along the touchline to now be facing the game, having created more than 2 meters of distance between him and his direct opponent. And now he can make the Barcelona play progress and move into his preferred zone. And all of this with great ease. Despite that, the Newcastle players will manage to score a goal in this match thanks to a perfect build-up play. With a series of passes between the defenders, they manage to find Guimaraes behind Barcelona's first defensive line. Guimaraes receives the ball with his back to goal, immediately combines with Tonelli, who is facing the play, and he serves his striker playing with his back to goal. At that moment, the striker lays the ball off to Guimaraes, who is now facing the play classic triangle football. The Brazilian can then release Murphy in depth on the right wing, who instantly delivers a cross into the box for Gordon, who is sprinting in behind. The Barcelona defense is late to react. Gordon puts the ball into the back of the net, 2-1. After this goal, the Magpies try to push hard to come back into the game in the last 7 minutes. But Barcelona completely take control of the match, and with Pedri's help, they deprive Newcastle of the ball. The match ends with Barcelona's 2-1 victory at St. James Park. The Newcastle coach Eddie Howe bet on Newcastle's strengths, physical impact, very high and aggressive pressing, set pieces and quick counter-attacks. This is supposed to perfectly counter Barcelona's tactical plan, which is based on controlling the game and dominating the last 30 meters, suffocating the opponent to wear them down. But Barcelona showed real control of the game throughout the entire match, which reduced the chances for the Magpies to succeed, especially with their lack of efficiency in front of goal. As the stats show, Newcastle had 1.47 expected goals, which is higher than Barcelona's 1.31. With more than 64% possession for the Blaugranas, it proves that quick counter-attacking is the most dangerous weapon against them. Last year, Inter Milan demonstrated this in the Champions League semi-final. But to succeed like they did, you have to be ruthless in attack. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.